I am trying to make an actual TV show.
It's so hard to find a funny show that isn't filthy. I watch them, but I don't want to.
Let's do this.
Fire, like lots of fire.
So dedicated.
So cool. Where's it go from there, you know?
Oh, have I got your attention now?
This is bigger than you can handle.
Got any plans for tonight?
What are you waiting for? Let's go.
Cool? Absolutely!
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing tonight? Oh, come on. We can do a little better than that. How's everyone doing tonight? Awesome. Hello, my name is Kaylee Smith. Ooh, and now I got some light. Love it. My name is Kaylee Smith, and I am the co-founder of SeriesFest, and I'm so excited to welcome you all to the Season 3 premiere of Acapulco. A few things before we get... Oh, thank you. I hear a clap out there for Acapulco. Yay! Very excited. A few things before we get started. I just want to give a big thank you to Mike Ferrafino and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for supporting this event. Thank you to Lionsgate and Apple. We're very excited to have you here. A special thanks to the Denver Film Society for opening up your home to us, to our SeriesFest staff and our volunteers. We have over 150 volunteers, and we could not do this festival without them, so thank you so, so much. And if you see any of them, you can just say thank you for us, because we really, really appreciate them. Please stick around after, because we do have some cast and the great creative team in attendance. And I just have to say, this is a little bit of a special screening for us. Well, it's a special screening, but for our hearts, it's a special screening because my co-founder and I, Randy Kleiner, met at theater camp when she was 8 and I was 11, Stage Door Manor. Yes, and the co-creator and showrunner went to Stage Door Manor. How cool is that? And we didn't cross paths there, but we crossed paths after, and we actually have some more Stage Door people in the audience. So the lesson is, go to theater camp or send your kids to theater camp, and then you can have a show on Apple. All right, before we get started, we just have a quick little video. One of our lead actors not our lead actors, their lead actors couldn't be here, Enrique Erizon. So I'm gonna let you guys watch that, and he'll take it away. Have a good night, guys. Hi. Well, that was amazing. So excited to have this Q&A. Thank you again to Lionsgate and Apple for that screening. And I would like to introduce our moderator, Stacy Lambe.
Thanks so much. Ooh, very bright. All right, thank you all. Let's bring everybody out. First up is creator Austin Winsberg. Next up is Fernando Carsa as Mimo. Camila Perez as Julia. Rafael Cebrián as Hector. And Sam Laybourne, the showrunner for season 3. Well, first off, congrats on the new season and the first 2 episodes. I think we all had a good time watching that.
Thank you.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello.
Yeah, good.
Does this work? Does this work? Yeah.
Austin, I wanted to start with you as the creator of the show. I wanted to start with you as the creator of the show. When I mentioned that I was going to be on this panel, everyone just talked about how they describe the show as fun, an easy watch, positive, those kind of things. Everybody just always feels very endeared by the show. And I was curious, how much of that was a factor in what you guys created and what you've been able to produce?
I think very much that was intentional, to create something that was feel good, that was heartfelt, that was about family, that was about a character who was trying to achieve in life and create a better life for him and his family. So kind of built into the DNA and the design of the show was something that was romantic, comedic, heartfelt, colorful, vibrant, feel all of those things.
And for the cast, I mean, how does that resonate with you when you read the scripts and you get, the new episodes when you guys are producing?
We'll share. Can you repeat the question? I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
No, just, how, do you get that same feeling when you read the scripts in terms of that positive feeling, and how does that resonate with you as actors on the show?
I mean, we all definitely do. I feel like I can speak for everybody. Our table reads are the most fun, I think. Sorry to the rest of the shows of the world. But we have a great time doing the show, and what's been so awesome about having 3 seasons now is that now they're kind of writing with our voices in their head. So they know us, and they use that to make it even funnier. And we're just very blessed and very happy that we get to do a show that brings people together and celebrates our culture, celebrates unity, and it's just a feel-good comedy that makes your heart feel good and fuzzy.
Yeah, I mean, there's no like character that has ill intentions in the show. They all mean well, and just reading that, I don't know, as an actor, I think it's very refreshing. I think on TV you don't get a lot of feel-good shows nowadays. So it's delightful to read and so much fun to play, especially bouncing off of these guys, honestly.
And Sam, you took over as showrunner this season. First off, what was that like for you, kind of, taking the reins, but then also, how did you add your stamp to the new episodes?
It was an incredible gift to come in on a show like this, which I was a mega fan of for the first 2 years. So honestly, it was thrilling. And I was given this amazing gift at the end of the season, right, where we don't know that his daughter is at the door. And so the first day was, how are we going to unpack this? As a storyteller, it's so fun to be boxed into a corner like that, because you've got to find comedy and humanity and, dimensionalize all the characters out of this very specific story point. So for me, as a showrunner, it was a gift to come in. And in terms of my own stamp, honestly, I'm so enamored with the show because it's able to show so many different voices of our characters from Mexico that being a showrunner, I'm a white showrunner, coming and stepping into this role was humbling. And it was really important for me to hire a writing staff that reflected the community we were writing about, and working with a crew from Mexico that's so incredible. So really my stamp is just sort of trying to hire people to say, here's where we should go, and then just sort of help curating that path a little bit.
And based off the first 2 episodes that we saw, can you kind of talk about the themes or ideas of what we can look forward to in season 3?
Yeah, absolutely, and everybody please jump in. But one of the things we talked about a lot on this show for older Maximo is he has a lot of regrets in his life. He's lived a wonderful life in a lot of ways, but in order to be this guy he is, he's made some mistakes. We've all made a lot of mistakes, right? So there's this idea of it's never too late, right? This is a guy who's coming back and he's able to find redemption. And I think it's a thing we all need to hear right now, is it's never too late to right the wrongs of our past, reconnect with people we love. It's never too late to tune into this show and spread the word.
For real.
Get people.
Please do it.
Touching on what you said about older Maximo, I think what's really fun about this season is that Eugenio is now part of the story and not just telling the story. Austin, I stole that from you, but it's a really good line.
Loud.
Sorry. It was just so much fun to watch,
Yeah, I think every character is going through their own changes and trying to figure stuff out this year. Nora is trying to figure out what it looks like to be a mom now with her kids maybe not needing her, and it's almost going to be an empty nester soon. And Diane is kind of on her own without Chad, and she's dealing with a new guy at work. Vera, who's coming in with her too. So every character, and she's trying to figure out who am I outside of my children, and you're trying to figure out, with Lorena and
a lot of growing up.
and Julia is about to open her own clothing store, and so it was a lot of transitions for all of the characters in season 3 too.
Well, speaking of that, when it comes to Memo and Julia, we have some fun relationships at play. Can you guys talk about what we can look forward to with those dynamics?
I mean, you with Max, not Julia and Memo. I want to make that very clear. We don't do that in the show. We don't betray our friends.
But we could.
We could if you
Season
want.
4?
Season 4? I mean, I'll speak for my couple, whatever. I think in my case, there is a lot of growing up and maturing in my relationship that's forcing my character and just my relationships to grow. And that goes along with me becoming head pool boy at Las Colinas and just gaining more responsibility. But a lot of growing up and a lot of decision making, which you will see. Because you're going to continue watching, right?
Yeah, for Julia, there's a lot of growth personally, and she's opening her boutique, and we're going to see her grow in that, in her career, but also in her love life. She finally, took the risk to follow her heart and not care about the staff at the hotel. So we get to see her more as like a rounded person. We get to hear her thoughts now. Now this season I have a best friend who we saw becomes Lorena.
My girlfriend.
Who's your best friend in real life?
So she's also my best friend in real life.
That was crazy.
Before the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, before the show. She filmed me for this audition in her LA apartment. I was living on her couch.
We cast her in season 1 without knowing that they were best friends.
Yeah, so she's my real life best friend, and I'm so happy I get to do a show with her, creating memories. So whatever you saw there, that's actually our real life. But yeah, we get to see more of Julia, because I feel like season 1, season 2 were more like she was just stuck in this triangle. But this season, you get to see her grow as a woman, and it's beautiful. I'm very, very happy.
And the work you do is incredible this season in playing all those facets. It's really amazing.
We get to learn about your family this season too.
Get to learn about my family. She's very, this is cliche, but she's very Colombian this season. A little feisty.
You love that.
I
love that.
I love that.
Hector's got his own love story going on this season. We'll
Yeah.
talk about. And I won't say the other thing.
Yeah, should we keep it under wraps?
Should I say the other thing?
You can say. I mean, I don't know. Who am I to tell you what to say?
No, wait, about no.
I mean, don't give away, but
we're gonna learn more. We're gonna learn more about Hector too this season.
Just watch 6 and you'll love it. Trust us.
I think the other really fun thing about the show is just the 80s aesthetic, right? The hotel, the vibrant colors, the costumes, the hair. Fernando, I have to ask, what goes into putting Hector's hair together for each episode?
2 hours of her in makeup?
Hector's hair, Rafael.
Oh, Rafael.
But you can talk about it if
like,
you want.
I'll talk about
Fernando,
it.
You
I
can
want to talk about it too.
Talk about my hair.
apologize.
No,
Sorry about that.
my hair. I mean, it goes. First of all, I got to give it to the hair and makeup department. They do a great job. I also think this season we've pushed the 80s a little more, the aesthetics. No, guys? I kind of feel that, at least in my opinion, which I love. Yeah, a lot of hairspray. I'd say an hour and a half in hair and makeup, and they give me a little mullet, a little soft mullet. And then it's really hard to keep that thing up with all the humidity in Puerto Vallarta. Sometimes it's a little too high for your tasting, Austin,
His
isn't
hair
it?
has a life of its own, and it goes on different journeys throughout the day.
Yeah.
And we're always having to monitor his hair because of the humidity. So that's a constant game we play.
Yeah.
But also, like, the aesthetic of the show was really established in the pilot when our pilot director, Richard Shepard, came in, and he said, everything has to be pink. And he was looking for something that made the show feel distinct, and also to make the show a hotel place, a place that was aspirational, that people wanted to visit. And so a lot of those design elements were talked about early on in a way to just make everything pop.
And where did the idea for all the music come into the show? Was that there from the beginning as well?
From the very beginning. Yeah, I mean, Sam and I before this worked on a TV show called Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist.
Austin's a creator. Amazing show.
And so I'm a kind of a musical theater stage door guy.
Emmy nominated.
Thank you. And so it was very important to me to figure out a way to put music in this show too. And we just landed really early on this idea of these pool singers that were kind of inspired by people I had seen on trips I had gone to in Mexico. And we just liked the idea that they would be singing American songs in Spanish, mostly, not always. And we thought that was like a funny, interesting way to kind of put a spin on it and still be able to do like a musical number every week. Yeah. So it really just came selfishly from my own desire to do musical numbers. And then we got so lucky with Rosanna and Rodrigo, who are so good. And they care so much. And they bring so much. They do all their own choreography. They're really involved in their costume creations every week. And it's just like, they're probably outside of this crew, like the people that I guess asked about the most is the pool singers.
And well, for the cast, what do you think about the music? I mean, has there been a favorite song or cover so far?
Well, for your first part of the question, I think, I have talked about this a lot. When creating our characters, music was actually like a huge influence. Like we would create
a playlist
for our characters. But for the second part of the question, the end of the second season ends with the song called Nos Pertenecemos, which is We Belong. We belong to the... Okay.
No, keep going.
No, okay.
Please.
Fernando can really sing, guys.
Okay. Anyways, thank you. No, but I like that song a lot because I feel like it represents our Acapulco family and the fact that we do, in fact, belong together and belong to each other, and we belong to this opportunity we've received in this moment. And I cannot not cry when I listen to it.
Selfishly, I just need to say We Belong was the wedding song at our wedding, my wife and I, our first dance.
Get out.
Come on.
I did not know
This
that.
is too personal.
That's why we put it in the show.
I'm gonna
Wow.
Great choice.
Yeah.
I
did a contemporary dance to We Belong. No
You
one
did?
can see that video.
We're going to talk after this.
My wife and I was cold as ice. Cold as ice.
So at what point do we just get a full-on musical episode?
That's what we keep asking.
We've been asking for it.
Fernando said it 2 hours ago.
There have definitely been
To
some
Sam.
high-level discussions about it. Yes, definitely.
Definitely in
Music
consideration.
is very important in Acapulco.
There are a lot
Very
of
important.
people in the show who can really sing. Regina, who plays Lupe, is a huge
Opera.
Like opera, musical theater, cabaret style. She's like a huge diva in Mexico, all of Mexico.
Lupe, who works with him. Yeah, you guys know.
You got Cord Overstreet as well, who can sing.
Overstreet from Glee. He
You
can
know.
obviously sing. So yeah, we have a deep bench of singers.
Well, speaking of Cord, we saw Chad's back, but we also this season have a couple new characters played by Cristo Fernandez and Jaime Camille. What was it like having bringing those new cast members onto the team this year?
It was wonderful. We talked very specifically this year about when we bring a guest in, because we have such an incredible bench of regulars on the show, that we want to bring really special actors, and we wanted to bring more Mexican actors onto the show as well, more Latinx actors in general, but specifically with the show having 2 amazing years, it has become a recruiting tool. And so for Cristo, he wanted to be in a scene with Eugenio, who's obviously a legend. So he was really calling us saying, I love your show. How can I be involved? And we had this character for Paloma, her partner, and as soon as his name came into our world, we wrote it exactly for him. And he was such a sport about it, and just as warm and loving as you can imagine the Dani Rojas character from Ted Lasso. With Jaime, it was really a huge boon for us. We love the actor who played Ricardo Vera, but we had an opportunity. He had a scheduling conflict, and it became one of those story things that's a little tricky to get out of, but then we came up with this idea that it's his brother, and you get that great line, no, I'm not Mr. Vera, I'm Mr. Vera. It was just awesome.
And can I add to that something really quickly? For us, it's a dream come true, because who doesn't love Ted Lasso, first of all? But also Jaime Camille, who many of you might know from Jane the Virgin. We know him from our entire lives, watching him doing telenovelas in Mexico and then watching him do his crossover. So we feel so blessed that in this show we constantly get to work with some of the most amazing actors from Latin America, but also the States. And it's just a dream come true. A little nerve-wracking, but very, very wonderful.
Yeah, we learned early on that if we just do a guest of the week, if we just do a storyline about someone who's staying at the hotel, it's taking time away from our cast. So if we're going to bring somebody in a role like that, they have to be serving in some way that functions in conflict with our regulars. And so we knew that we wanted to bring in somebody who was a viable counterpoint for Diane, and Jaime brings a lot of that with him.
And then just going back to kind of something Fernando was saying about we've said this a couple of times, the Latinx representation, the authenticity that we're bringing to the show. What does it mean for the cast to be a part of that? Do you feel like it's resonating with fans, and does that matter to you to kind of be part of this representation?
Go for it.
Oh, okay. Definitely, I feel like some of the most beautiful messages that we get is from people who say that they feel like they see themselves in us. And I think we just feel very blessed and fortunate to be part of a show that makes people happy, brings people joy, but also that creates a space for us. If I'm being completely honest right now, most shows with a Latin narrative to it or cast gets canceled after 1 or 2 seasons, and they don't even get picked up. So the fact that we've made it this far, it's already a huge blessing, and we're here to showcase what we're made of and what we can do, and especially in this country. We're very proud to represent.
I also think that, yes, Latinos on TV, narcos and immigration stories constantly, which sure, it's part of our culture, but it's a very small part of Latino culture. We have way more stories to tell that are more beautiful than those, and that they never get told. I think what I love about this show is, in the US, Latino is basically everything that is south of the border, and mainly Mexican with a little bit of Puerto Rican sprinkled on top. And we forget that Argentinians, Ecuadorians, Chile, Paraguay, Uruguay, España, Latino is a culture, it's not a nationality. And Acapulco represents the spectrum of that culture in such a big and beautiful way. It really touches my heart.
Yeah, and also for Julia, she's, as you know on the show, she's a fashion designer. And as a Latina in Hollywood, you don't really get to see those storylines written for people like me. So I'm very honored for our showrunners and our creators for writing such a real story for a Colombian woman. I haven't really seen a lot of Colombian characters in Hollywood, so I'm very honored and grateful for that opportunity, and that you're portraying her as a strong, independent woman, like all of us Latinas are. So I'm just very grateful that a lot of women like me can see that, and they can just dream big and keep going, because we're staying here. Staying.
If I can add one more thing, sorry, I just have to say it. Some of the characters were originally written as just being Mexican. I'm not gonna go into details of which, but what was really cool that our creators did is, and our writers and all the collaborators, is that based on who we are as people, they rewrote these characters. And they made sure that more people from all of Latin culture felt seen and represented. And I think that just gave the show more love and magic. And
authenticity.
And authenticity.
That was really the mandate from day one, especially like what Sam had said too. Another white guy up here. Coming in with the things that we didn't know, it was very important that everything felt as authentic as possible. So that from co-creating it with Eduardo Cisneros to the Apple International Department from day one, always wanting to be sure that when people are in a room where they would be speaking Spanish, that they're actually speaking Spanish and not just speaking English, because it might be more palatable for an American audience, to, if you're from Colombia, to say the characters from Medellin, all of this kind of stuff, and then really making sure that the writers' room is filled with writers who know, who understand, who are from the culture, and for us to be there to listen and hear and to help with that, and the Mexican crew and everybody, if all across the board, authenticity is number one. And I think that the more authentic it is and the more specific it is, the more universal it becomes.
And
You also don't give yourself enough credit. I think it's really cool and amazing to have Mexican and Latino writers in the room is amazing. But I also think, because we need Latino stories to be told by Latinos, but I also think it's great that you guys are also telling Latino stories and are telling them in an authentic way. Like, anyone can tell Latino stories authentically. So thank you, honestly.
Don't cry. Ah.
Well, speaking of the writer's room, you know, some of these stories do really feel like they're coming from a personal place. And I feel like the audience really resonated with a lot of the family dynamic that we saw in the first 2 episodes. How much are the writers bringing their own personal stories to what we see on screen?
It's the best part of being a writer, I think, is finding cultural touchstones that are really universal about, you know, family dynamics. So we always start the year with writers pitching from personal stories and from tiny little details. You know, me learning as a writer. We're going through scripts. We have a writer, Ilsa Apayanis, who's incredible, who zoomed in every day from Mexico City. She lives in Mexico City, and she was on this show season 2 as well. And she did translations for all the work, but we would all sort of share our own personal stories and bring them into the show. And one of our staff writers this year, Bernardo Cubria, who's a playwright and a movie writer, he's already quite accomplished, but he was a staff writer because it was his first time working on a TV show. On our Zoom interview to get the job, he held up a shirt that his grandfather had, a guayabera that his grandfather wore in Acapulco when he was a hotel manager.
Wow.
And so we're 2 guys crying. I was like, I think you're going to get this job. And so we rely on that a lot in the room, and it's important. You know, it's there's been a lot of talk about being, and this is, I think Austin feels the same way. When you're a showrunner, there's, you know, society is evolving, right? We're realizing that we have blind spots, and sometimes that gets maligned by old school comedy writers, like, oh, we have to be so careful. That's a good thing. When you get called out for something that's not working or isn't speaking to a community, and you get to solve and come up with a funnier joke, it's always funnier. So that was a nice thing in our room, is like the youngest, we have a 24-year-old staff writer who could say, hey, that doesn't quite work for me, like, and here's why, and here's a solution. And that's how we keep writers' rooms current and interesting, and you don't lose any comedy in that process. You actually get funnier. So there was a lot of that.
Yeah, and I think some of where I view, like, Sam's job, my job, is we'll help with story and structure and some of those things that we spend a lot of years in writers' rooms learning and cultivating, but it's the specificity and it's the dialogue and all that stuff that then elevates some of these storylines that could feel familiar, but we're bringing something new to light with it, I think, hopefully.
And then, you know, since you guys do film on location and at the hotel, what is it like for the cast? You know, what does it mean for you guys to spend all that time together? But does it also kind of feel like you're in a bubble when you are making the show?
We were literally in a bubble season 1 because it was COVID. We could not leave the hotel for 3 months straight, literally.
We live there.
We live
at the Pink Hotel.
We live at the hotel that we shoot at, and we finish shooting and then go to dinner and then go to our rooms in the hotel.
We're in a bubble, and it also feels like we're in a time bubble because we live in the 80s.
I just feel like it's like summer camp for adults. You know, we see each other 24 hours a day. We work, and then we go to the cafeteria, and my boss is there, everybody's there. I'm kidding, love you. But I think for the cast, it just made our chemistry and our relationship grow stronger. I feel like when we go on camera, it's very easy, and we just feel like a family.
That first season, I feel like, because we were in a bubble and living at the hotel, it was 3 months for the first season. We became each other's family for those 3 months, and you know, sometimes when you're growing up, you go ups and downs in your emotional journey, and I was 23 at the time, and having them beside me, especially, this was my first show. This is my first ever job, and I was mortified. I still am, actually. But having them by my side really helped me grow, and those connections that we made from being so vulnerable with each other is what created this magic. Yeah. What you guys see actually happens behind the camera, and it's just an extension of the love and the care that we have for one another. Even when the show is not filming, we go to each other's country to visit. Yeah. We go to Disneyland together. Like, we love each other, and I think you can tell by the show.
We keep getting, at least I keep getting this question like, well, if it's called Acapulco, why is it not filmed in Acapulco? And I'm like, okay, first of all, the magic of the movies, Mars was not filmed in Mars, you know? Just,
that's a really good point.
First of all, and no, look, I mean, there's like location issues and situations that is hard to figure out. I don't think it's easy to find a resort that closes for 6 months out of the year and let us film and, I don't know, paint it pink, you know? I mean, first of all.
Oh, it wasn't supposed to be pink either, right?
Right, that was Richard Shepard again.
Other,
yeah. But I do think, again, there's an immense amount of value in having this show filmed in Mexico. Because honestly, you could film a resort show anywhere in the world. But the fact that it's being filmed in Mexico adds another layer of authenticity. I think being on location is really cool for people like us, like the talent and the writers, because you get to immerse yourself in the culture of that country, and that automatically affects the storytelling, I think.
Excellent. Sure. All right, I think now we have some time for a few questions with the audience. If you just want to raise your hand and we'll seek you out. I saw you over here pop up first.
Austin Winsberg, long-term listener, first-time talker. I want to thank you for naming your title character after me, first of all.
Welcome.
Matt. You have a history of creating amazing shows that are too good and then get canceled. What are you doing to make sure that this show is not too good and thereby runs for a long, long time?
Wow. He just saw through me. I just start crying right now.
This feels like therapy. My gosh.
Can you come to therapy with me next
safe
week?
here. We'll hold your hand.
Listen, I think that, I'm just ahead of the curve, buddy. I think that, look, this show, it comes down to support from Apple and support from the fans. And I think that this show is, I'm not trying to make the show less than. I think that we are all trying you just create characters that people care about. I think that this show, the ways that this show is a little out of the box are exciting. And, like the things that are out of the box is that it's bilingual. These are things that shouldn't be so surprising. We get to have fun with playing in the two different time periods. We get to have fun with the different kinds of storytelling because he's an unreliable narrator. So I think there's elements of this show that feel very traditional, and then elements of this show that make it feel special and premium in certain ways. So I don't know exactly how to answer that question, but yes, and hopefully they are along for the ride. But we definitely would like it to keep going.
Next question? Does anybody have? In the back there? Or yep, you. Sorry.
I just want to say thank you. Thanks for coming to Denver. We have a lot of people from our organization here being able to go through and help support this evening and Colorado State Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you so much,
Thank you for coming.
And I think that there were so many things to really kind of touch on. One was, this area of, I think, one, just because you're Latino or Hispanic doesn't guarantee you're a great advocate for Latino or Hispanics. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to be Latino or Hispanic to be a great advocate for Latino or Hispanics. So thank you for being able to go through and set the stage to create a show that allows people to explore this incredible diversity of Hispanic and Latino culture, which you up there know, and I think all of us do, that there is a substantial underrepresentation, in all areas. But being able to go through and find a way to portray this in a positive light, right? Not violence, kid friendly,
Thank you. That
Thank
was
you for
perfect.
having
That
us.
was
Thank you so
beautifully
much.
said.
Thank you. I'll also say, as much as this is a Mexican show, we also, when we started writing it, never saw it just as a Mexican show. It's a coming-of-age show. It's a show about a boy who's looking for love and trying to better his family's life. That could be a show in any place, in any culture, anywhere. So, as honored as we are that it's a Mexican show too, it is also universal. That's all.
Latino Mexican is not a genre.
Yeah.
Like, it's a comedy. This is a comedy.
Yes.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We have another question here.
I also want to add more to what you just said. You guys are
About my failed shows?
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely not. No, I love the fact that you guys are portraying both cultures in a very positive way. I love the voices that come from you. And the question that I have for either one of you is, how do each part of your characters, right? How did you develop that character based on your real life, like on your experience? I know you mentioned that you're brand new when it comes to this specific job, right? But how did you guys bring that alive? And what is it about you guys that makes it so special?
Well, for my character specifically, so my mom is the real life Julia. My mom was a fashion designer when she was 24. She never succeeded because she had me and the trouble. Oh, sorry. She didn't pursue it because she had to take care of me. So I brought a lot of my mom into this character. I try to play into that. Also, friends that I've met, my own experience as a Colombian woman in America. Well, she was in Mexico, but I was born in Colombia and I moved to America when I was very young. So like I also invited that story into Julia. And also, like, the writing just makes it very easy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I could sit here and tell you, like, I got this from here. But the writing, if it's on the page, you're going to see it on screen.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, it all starts with the writing. Yeah. And this show is great writing, and we just fly with it. Yeah. We put our own spin to it, and we also have great directors, and a great showrunner. So really, it all starts on the page.
If for any of you who have seen the second season, we have a character called Isabel, and Gabriela Milla, the actress who plays that character, told us one day, you guys know that the writers are doing like a psychologist analysis of each and every one of you. And we're like, what are you talking about? And she's like, they're literally writing based on who you are as individuals. And when I started analyzing, I'm like, for some of us, it's true, not for all of us. But the truth is, I feel like the writers have also done a great job at paying attention at who we are as people, what our strengths are, and they just write with our voices in their head. And I feel like at the beginning of the process, like they said, it was so well written that, yeah, you add a little bit of your personal experience. We are the filter, or, you know, where this...
The vessel.
The vessel, that's the word. The vessel. But these guys are the ones to thank.
Well, just to give them credit for 1 second, especially these three sitting up here. The casting process on the pilot of the show was a long process and a difficult process. But these three were undeniable. And they were, I mean, I think you two were the first two cast, actually. Like, there was sort of no question that these two were Memo and Hector, and there was zero question from me, and there was zero question from me that Camila was Julia too. So it's like they just came in and embodied who, you know, the best versions of what these people could be, and it was undeniable. So thank you for saying it's the writing, but it's also everything that you guys bring to it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think we have time at least for one more. I saw your hand up.
So I think that one of the best ways to connect across cultures is through humor and storytelling. So that's exactly what the show does. And so humor really varies across America. You know, United Statesians have a type of humor. Mexicans, Colombianos, Paraguayos, everybody has different, you know, appreciations of humor, but the show does such a wonderful job of weaving those things beautifully, and like the genius of Eugenio Derbez, and like, you know, it's really like, it feels like home whenever I see it, and then integrating like the humor of Memo and with Lupe and you know, and with Esteban, it's just so, it feels so nice, and then to integrate it with United Statesian kind of like values and like and just seeing that interaction it just feels so nice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, can I say something?
Yeah,
I was gonna say, the first thing is, of course, our very diverse writers' room. You know, like Sam was saying, they make sure that they have people that can help tell the story authentically. But what I think it's really cool is that there is this space for conversation and feedback from the actors to the writers. So I don't want to give too much away, but for instance, on an episode this season, Rafael did a lot of work to make sure that, you know, because the script was being written by someone who is of Dominican descent.
Wait, isn't he Venezuelan?
No.
What are we talking about?
Francisco? He's Venezuelan.
Venezuelan.
All
My
good, all
bad.
good.
Francisco
My bad.
Cabrera Feo.
Sorry. About a water bottle. Okay, sorry about that. But Rafael actually sat down with him, and they were very open to have a conversation about how to sort of change the script around to make it authentic to what someone Spanish would say, you know? And there is this just trust that they have with us that we can come up to and be like, actually, this doesn't make, like, this joke is not gonna read in Spanish. Can I say it like this, or can I change it to this? So there's a lot of trust and a lot of communication and collaboration.
And flexibility.
I'd say there's trust all around. I mean, I keep saying this, but it's true. First of all, this is my first comedy, and I don't feel like I could do this without trust. Trust from my peers, trust from the directors, trust from the writers. This cast is the most generous cast I have ever worked with. They just...
Same.
Truly. I mean, it's just insane how... I mean, my character, he's up there, right? And I keep bouncing with these guys, and they just allow me to go up there, and because they keep everything else grounded. And I don't know, they allow me to be bold and to take risks, and I've never worked with such freedom, and it's amazing. That's why I keep saying that this show is the joy of my life.
Yeah, same.
Well, I think on that note, we can wrap it up, but
Let's
thank
wrap
you
on
for
Joy of My Life, yeah.
No, but thank you for everybody for attending this premiere and for having this discussion with the cast. I mean, just to leave us on a final note, what do you hope fans get out of this experience?
Tonight?
Just in general, with the show.
Sam?
Could you repeat? I couldn't hear.
What do you hope fans get out of the experience of the show?
I think I want fans personally to really think about that idea of it's never too late. I really think it's a powerful idea for all of us. It's never too late to just try to find one aspect in your life where you can be slightly more kind, more thoughtful to the people around you, to appreciate the great things that are happening in your life. And I think, you know, that very simple concept of it's never too late can speak power. And in a time where there's a lot of division, this show is been a gift for me coming in a third season of a show to a ready-made family. And it's just to look into your life and figure out one way it's never too late to be slightly kinder to someone else.
Raph, what do you hope?
I just want people to have fun.
Let's go down the line.
Let's
go down the line.
I just want people to have fun. Like, it's a fun show. I want people to have fun and laugh and have a good time.
Yeah. I want people to sit down with their family, because I feel like shows today, you just watch it by yourself at night, right? I feel like with Acapulco, you can just sit down, have a little drink, make some food with the family. It makes you dream big. It's just soft. It's not even about, it's a Latino show, let's support it. It's just like, it's a good show. It's funny. It's light. It's 25 minutes of comedy. It's easy. It's joyful. It's pink. Makes you want to travel. Maybe that's not good because you're going to spend a little more money. But it's just bright. I just want fans to watch it and enjoy it.
I think for me is I hope that they get inspired to follow their dreams, because I know that's also a big theme in the show from the very beginning, and it's tied to the whole theme of second chances and trying again. And I hope this show inspires people to go for what they want and what they dream for.
I'll just say community and empathy and understanding and kindness. And like you said, that everybody in the show is essentially good people trying to do good. Yeah. And I like that idea always. That always lifts me up.
Excellent.
Thank you so
Thank you
much
so
for
much.
having
Thank
us
you.
and for
No,
coming.
thank you.